All right, man. We back with Draft Blast. Told you guys it was coming back. I made a Draft Blast playlist, man. It's listed as Draft Blast, so you can check out the playlist. We got one for Lions, Pistons, college sports, the whole nine. We back, Motor City Sports Talk. Told you I was gonna tap in with a couple or a few sports videos today, and we kind of going back looking at the 2010 draft, and I think it was the second draft that Martin Mayhew and Tom Lewine. Well, Tom Lewine handled the cap salary. He was a capologist, kind of more the management side, and the player personnel side was it was Martin Mayhew. And if you didn't know, Martin Mayhew and Tom Lewine worked under Matt Millen and then got a promotion after going 0-16, and just show you how dysfunctional and just how dysfunctional the organization has been. So Bob Quinn is your first original new hire, I think this century. So something to look at, but pretty much it was a horrible draft class because none of the players, even though that's 9 years later, that's well over the average NFL span. Well, 9 years later, none of these guys still here. And Ndamukong Suh still should be here. He in Tampa Bay, left here for Miami. I think he wanted to upcharge the Lions. The Lions didn't want to, pay him the money to stay in Detroit, so he left, went to Miami, went to the Super Bowl with the Rams, lost, and now he's with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. And we hope that he will come back, but just go through the list. He was a first-round draft pick. They traded back up in the first and got Jahvid Best out of Cal. We talk about him. Amari Spavey from Iowa, never really worked out. Jason Fox from Miami was a developmental left tackle behind Jeff Backus, never really worked out. Willie Young, when he finally did work out and he started to look good, the Lions let him go. He went to Chicago, had a really strong season, but hasn't played in the NFL since 2017, so he missed all last year. Could be retired, don't really know. Tim Toon, he was just a practice squad player. He was the guy with the dreads. He was, Mr. Irrelevant, what they call it, 255th pick. I think it was the last pick of the draft that year. A number of these guys are out the league. Jahvid Best, 2012 was his last year. We know he's he's doing track and field for his parents' original country. Amari Spavey hasn't played since 2012. I know he had a domestic dispute. Not sure if it was injury. Tim Toon last played in the NFL 2012. He bounced around several teams. Jason Fox last played 2015. Willie Young last played 2017. And then Ndamukong Suh, obviously still in the league active, but just to look at the draft, man, and it wasn't a good draft, and obviously it could have been a lot better draft had Jahvid Best not got hurt and they paid Ndamukong Suh, and they would have retained the services of Willie Young. I think he was coming on. I mean, the Lions really hit on a lot of 6th, 7th round picks, no matter who the GM has been. They hit on, Quadre, and they hit on a few other guys there too, man. That really done well for themselves, man. But Ndamukong Suh, I think he was the clear pick. We took him over Gerald McCoy. Trent Williams was another guy. Eric Berry was up there. He had a little form of cancer. He's free agent now. So it ain't really nobody that was at the time that was a bad pick over. I think Ndamukong Suh, man, he was a really good pick. He gave us an identity that we haven't got since then. He gave us a nasty dog identity, man, and we haven't really even, got that back, man. And that's unfortunate, man, because we need identity as a defense. We need a dirty dog like him. But pretty much Jahvid Best, I felt, he had some injury issues at Cal, bunch of concussions. I remember he flipped over the end zone and fell on his neck. We took him over anybody that's of note right now. Really not, man. TJ Ward, he barely in the league if he is. We took him over Gronkowski. He had back injuries, so I can understand that. But just looking, Taylor Mays was a workout warrior. He never really worked out in this league. Carlos Dunlap, he had issues. Sean Lee, he always been injured. Golden Tate eventually came here. So at the end of the day, Brandon Spike's been out the league So I think the first two picks is justified, man. Other than Java best injury history, man, he was an electric guy that can just break it, man. That Monday night game in Chicago, man, there was no way nobody was beating us that night. And he was just out cold that night, man. And he was electric, man. I think if we had more of a functional roster, that was just Matthew Stafford's second year. Remember, he got hurt in the first game of his second year versus Chicago when Jeff Backus was still in his 2-point stance and Peppers was all over him. So you really never knew, man, some of the talent we had, man, if it would have came together. But, hey, it didn't. But the first two picks, I had no problem with. Java Best, we still need a home run breaking running back like him. And hopefully homeboy from Maryland is it. But you keep going. Amari Staley out of Iowa, he only played 12 games. I mean, he only started 12 games, I think. Played 35. Had one interception. 5'11". I think he ran in the early 4.4s or late 4.3s, and he just never really panned out. I think they tried him at safety too. He wasn't a corner. He was a corner in college. I think they tried him out at safety. He just never really done much. I know he had the domestic violence thing when I pulled up his name. I didn't really remember. But he just never worked out as a Detroit Lion, man, coming out of Iowa, man. I believe Kirk Ferentz was still the coach there as well. And it just didn't work out. Now, if we go back and look at the Amari Staley pick, and that was pick 66 in the third round, second pick in the third round. I mean, they could have had, it really nothing, just looking back in hindsight, Van Deer maybe was a guy. It just really wasn't nobody else there. Brandon LaFell, Emmanuel Sanders is the only guy I see they could have got that they really passed up on. Eric Decker, he was another guy, receiver they could have got. Jimmy Graham, So it was a couple misses there, but nobody really thought Jimmy Graham was gonna be that good being a basketball player. So they missed a little bit there, man. But I'm not gonna hold it against them, man. They was probably drafting more need then. We go into the fourth round. Jason Fox was just an absolute bust. He started 3 games. Finally, when he got healthy, he was always injured at right tackle. Played 8, and that was it. He was out. He went to Miami and had a very, very short shelf life in the NFL. Well, they also missed out on Cam Chancellor, but hey, he went in the 5th round. Who else was thinking about Cam Chancellor at the time, right? And Jason Fox was the 128th pick, and that was a 4th round pick, and they missed out on Cam Chancellor, man. But everybody looking for that fast safety, man. And pretty much they didn't pass up on no more Rashad Jones. I mean, he was okay. I think that's the Rashad Jones from that went to Miami. He had some PED issues going on. But then we took Willie Young, man, late in the 7th round. I like Willie Young. He used to do a little fishing reel, but when he finally caught on, Willie Young was a good player. He ended up to this day. He didn't play last year with 32 sacks, so that wasn't bad coming from a 7th round draft pick. Willie Young was a good guy, and really looking at the 7th round, you ain't really looking to hit it big there, but there really ain't too many players in the 7th round that's any good, man. So Tim Toon, like I said, was the last pick of the 7th round, 255. He didn't even really he got no burn in the NFL or no stats. So overall, it was a disastrous draft, but pretty much it was just due to injury. The first 2 picks, and then obviously Willie Young got let go. I don't know. And then produced, but he had some straight years in Detroit. I like Willie Young. He seemed to be a formidable guy, kind of like a Brian Roberson up there in the Minnesota who just retired this year. And he was okay. He made a lot of stupid boneheaded plays. That's probably what I got rid of him. A lot of those personal foul penalties, those stupid penalties, and Willie Young was just known for that. Maybe in this NFL, he got a lot of more where you can't lay on the quarterback and stuff of that nature. But I used to like Willie Young other than the stupid penalties, man. But overall, it was a terrible draft. First 2 picks and Willie Young was straight. The rest of the draft was terrible. Java Best the injury thing, but it was a terrible draft. A ton of misses there. But hey, it is what it is. We know why the Lions are in the position they in. I'll continue to do more draft blasts coming down in the future. And let me know what you guys think, man. And check the playlist out if you missed any of the ones we did last year. We did about 4 or 5, so Appreciate it. Motor City Sports Talk. Don't forget to be on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. Reach out to the email. If you got questions or business inquiries or video requests, you just want to chop it up. One time for the one time. We gone.